Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. قدمنا والآخرة إلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نويت التعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير وابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد. So we continue with our daras on Kitab Risalatul Jami'ah by Habib Ahmad bin Zain al-Habshi. We continue on the chapter of Zakat. So we have covered most of it. And now we will cover the Zakat recipients. The recipients of Zakat, okay? So in the matan it is stated, it is not permitted to give zakat or zakat al-fitr except to a Muslim who is characterized by one of the 8 characteristics. This is also called Asnaf, such as being a poor or destitute person, and is not a Hashimi or Muttalibi, nor their slaves. It is necessary to distribute to all of these groups. So now we will give syarah on this matan. So from the Quran, you can see this ayat, verse 60 from Surah At-Tawbah. Indeed, prescribed charitable offerings are only to be given to the poor and the indigent, and to those who work on administering it, and to those whose hearts are to be reconciled, and to free those in bondage, and to the debt-ridden, and for the cause of God, and to the wayfarer. This is an obligation from God, and God is all-knowing, all-wise. So this is actually the ayat from Innama sadaqatu lil fugara wal masakin wal amilina alayha wal mu'allafati qulubuhum wa fir rigabi wal gharimina wa fi sabilillahi wa ibnis sabil faridatan minallahi wallahu alimun hakim. So this is just translation. So the Prophet also said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah permitted not even a prophet to adjust zakat worthiness. Rather, he himself ruled on it and permitted it in 8 cases. Therefore, if you belong to any of these, I shall most surely give you your right. Sunan Abu Dawud. So even Rasulullah SAW say that the 8 asnaf, the zakat recipients have been mentioned in the Quran. So we just follow who are they, and we give our zakat to them. So zakat al-fitr may be given to the 8 categories of people, the asnaf. The zakat recipients are called asnaf in Quran. Innama sadaqatu lil fuqara wal masakin, and they mention lil fuqara wal masakin wal amilina 'alayha wal mu'allafati qulubuhum wa fir riqab wal gharimin wa fi sabilillahi wa ibnis sabil. So these are the 8. They are called asnaf, like the categories of people. So zakat al-fitr or any zakat, including zakat al-fitr, must be given to these 8 asnaf. This is the mu'tamad of madhab Shafi'i. Our madhab says that. But according to the Malikis, one opinions of Ahmad bin Hanbal, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, and the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah, it should be given exclusively to the poor and needy. So there are opinions saying that for zakat al-fitr, is only given to the poor and needy. But the rest of the zakat, like zakatul mal, like zakatul tijara, zakatul mal, zakatul dhahab wa fiddah, and all this, and all the other zakat they are to be given to the 8 asnaf, the 8 categories of recipients. But Zakatul Fitr exclusively for the poor and needy. This is the some opinions of scholars. But in Madhab Shafi'i, the mu'tamad is to give all types of zakat, including Zakatul Fitr, to the 8 asnaf. But the normal practice now is that zakat, including Zakat Fitr, can be given to one category and even one person if the amount is little. And even in Madhab Shafi'i, we are using this currently, like you are, especially for Zakat Fitr, we, like, let's say you are living alone and you only have one sock. One sock is just a bit like 3 kilos of rice. Then you don't, you follow the mu'tamad, you will have to give this 3 kilos of rice, 3 kilos of rice to the 8 asnaf. But normally people will just give it to one. And there are scholars in Madhab Shafi'i saying that this is okay. In fact, this is actually kind of better, because if 3 kilos you divide by 8, that's like, it's like, it's negligible. So one person get very little. So they say if the amount is little for any zakat, the amount is little, so you can give it to one asnaf, limited to one asnaf, and you divide by, like, let's say you have like the 8 asnaf, and you select one asnaf, the poor, let's say. So you find all the poor, you distribute your wealth there, you distribute your zakat there. But if you are giving directly, then you can even give to one person from one asnaf. That means you select, let's say, okay, I have just like maybe $100 of zakat, or one sa of zakat, 3 kilos of zakat, $100 worth of zakat. That's little. So you can give to one person, just one person from one asnaf. That means you select, okay, the asnaf is the poor. So you select one person from the poor, you just give that the whole thing, the $100 to that person. That is permissible. In most scholars agree that this is permissible, and especially if it's little, it's better to give to one asnaf. But if it's distributed or instructed by the imam or his representatives, then they should cover all the 8 categories, all the 8 asnaf that are available at that time. So if it's like you give to zakat administrator or the imam of the region, of the place, so he collects and he will distribute. He will ask his representatives to distribute, or the zakat administrators who he has appointed to distribute. In this case, then he said it will have to be distributed to all the 8 categories which are available. If there are only 7 categories, then distribute to 7. If 6, then 6. If 4, 4. Like in Hyderabad, uh, the previous scholars, they have mentioned that currently at that time there are only 4 categories. So it depends on the place and time. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But the maximum only 8. There's no 9. There's no 9 recipient. The group of recipient only 8 asnaf. There's no 9 asnaf. There could be 7 if like especially nowadays, you can't really find the those in bondage. Uh, Fil Rigab, you cannot find them. So minus there are 7. But some scholars uh, will take this and name it to, like, okay, we take this as something else. Actually, most of the scholars say that if it's not there in the books, in the PG books, they say, the scholars say, if the current, the type of category is not there, the type of asnaf is not there, then you just minus off and put the amount back to the basket. So there are 8, so now it becomes 7. So if you have $1 million of zakat, you just divide by 7. You don't need to make up that 8 category with something else. Uh, So yeah. So the 8 categories are: the first, the poor. That means the low income or indigent, fugara. Then we'll go through the 8 asnaf first. Then we will go through in details what is the meaning. So the second one, okay, first one is poor, the fugara. Second is masakin, the needy. It's the same, the poor needy, but it's just that the poor they are in a worse situation than the masakin. Mm. Then zakat administrators, they are, who is that? Amilin, wal amilin alaiha. These are zakat administrators. They must be appointed by the imam, not just anybody just say that, okay, I'm the amil, so I will collect zakat. Like let's say if you individually appoint yourself as to collect zakat to be given and you distribute, that is permissible, but you cannot receive any zakat because you are not appointed uh, by the imam or the authority of the Muslims there. But you can collect for others and you can distribute for them with their permission, and you must know who to distribute to. But if they are appointed, then they can receive zakat as well, but also uh, at the market rate. They cannot receive too much, they cannot receive less permissible possible if the imam has appointed that certain portion will be given to the amilin, the zakat administrators, and he sees that, okay, not too much, okay, this is permissible, but not too much. Too much is not possible, it's not permissible. Then the fourth is those whose hearts are to be reconciled, like new Muslims. So these are the mu'allafati qulubuhum. Mu'allafati qulubuhum. Then the number five is those in bondage, slaves and captives, whose are in bond. They are slaves and they have an agreement with their masters to be released. Number six is the debt ridden. These are also, yeah, the numbers. This one of the asnaf. Those who are in debt. Then in the cause of God, they are fisabilillah. Then the wayfarer, meaning those who are stranded or traveling with few resources, Ibn Sabil. So those are the 8 categories, the 8 asnaf. So to go into details of each of the asnaf, number one, fugara, the fakir, fugara, the jama' is fugara. So the fugara are those who do not possess any wealth, or do possess some wealth, but not enough for himself and his dependents in terms of food, clothes, and shelter. He only has less than half of what he needs. That means if he needs 500, okay, he needs $3,000 to survive in a month for himself and his dependents. No matter how many dependents he have, like 3 or 4 or 2 or 1 or 0 or just one dependent. So it depends. For him and his dependents to survive in that month in terms of food, clothes, and shelter, and all the basic necessities for them to survive, he needs $3,000. But now he don't have, he have zero possession, or he has less than 1,005, less than half of what he need. Then he will be considered the fakir, the poor, the fakir. So this type of category can receive zakat. And he also, what is that? Okay, for the poor, you don't need to verify them. That means if they say they claim to be poor, they claim to be fakir, you can just give them. How much to give? Later we will talk about that. Okay, how much to give? Actually, for the fakir and miskin is about the same. Okay, for the miskin, masakin. The jama' is masakin. Miskin, needy. They, those who do possess, but not enough for himself and his dependents in terms of food, clothes, and shelter. He only has more than half of what he actually needs. So they are similar to the poor, but the same scenario. Let's say the person uh, he needs 3,000 for himself and dependent per month. He needs 3,000 per month, $3,000, but he only have 2,000, which is more than half of what he need. He need I mean more than half of what he needs. He needs 3,000, but he have 2,000. The half is 1,005. So now he has more than half of what he needs, but not the minimum of what he needs. So in this case, he will be categorized under the miskin, masakin. Uh, that means he's still short of half or less of what he needs. So in this case, he is eligible for zakat as well. So for the fakir and miskin, both of them you don't need to verify. You don't need to say like in the figure books they say if one claims to be a fakir and miskin, then you can just give them whatever zakat you have. You can give the zakat to them. Is legit and is they are eligible for that. But they must some sort know what is the meaning of fakir and miskin, not someone who just think they need more. Then they claim they are fakir and miskin. Then if they don't know this, then you must find out a bit. But normally people will know. Uh, this is common sense. You have to you don't need to interrogate them, but you can find out from the way they live, and you can ask around, or you can even ask them. But the 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 scholars say that once they claim to be fakir and miskin, you don't have to verify. You can just give them. Uh, but, but later on, if you found out that they are not fakir or miskin, then you can your zakat is uh, not counted. Mm. But it will be still counted as charity. So number three, they are zakat administrators, al-amilin. They are appointed by the hakim or his representative in his territory. So he must be appointed. Like I said just now, if he just decide to collect for people or he form a group and like a group of people get together, then they collect zakat for people and they distribute. In this case, they are not considered al-amil per se, but they are zakat administrator in their own field, but they are not appointed by the hakim, so they cannot receive the zakat. But if they are appointed, they are by the hakim or representative of the region or the territory, then he can receive zakat. He can receive zakat even if he is wealthy, provided no payment is given for his work. That means he's not receiving any salary or pay for that task. He's doing it voluntarily. So in this case, he can be given voluntarily but appointed by the hakim or representative. Then in this case, he can receive. How much to receive, how much to be given to him is up to the hakim. But most scholars agree that they cannot be too much because they are not like there are other asnaf also. So this is one of those like not not to be given too much. But many scholars say that you must distribute amongst the eight what is it eight asnaf. You have to give it uh, the same. You have to divide accordingly, uh, equally to the eight asnaf. That means if you collected $8 million of zakat for that year or that month, then you have to divide into eight categories. So that means one category get 1 million. So how many amil you need? But if you distribute to the according to the amount of amil from that 1 million. But if the hakim thinks that this is too much for Amil, it's not the market rate. That means, let's say market rate is $100 per day. Then if you distribute that 1 million to the amount of Amil you have in hand, they will be getting like 500 per day. Then that's too much. So uh, this is not the market rate. So he can lessen. He should take the zakat administrators, the Amil, should receive actually the market rate of the time and place. And he can even receive if he is wealthy, provided no payment is given, no salary, no fixed salary. Then the number four is those whose hearts are to be reconciled. Al-mu'allafati qulubuhum. So this, many of us will know it as those who are the new Muslims. New Muslims who are still weak. So the key is they must still be weak in their religion. That means they just converted to Islam, they just joined Islam, but they are still weak in their deen. They are still weak in their belief, in the tawhid part. Uh, and they like, if they have no guidance or not, what is that? They have too many problems, then they might resort to converting back to their old religion or disbelief in Islam. Then they will be murtad. So in this case, they are considered, they are weak in their religion as they are new. It can be after a few months, even after 3 years, they are still weak. It's possible. Even after 10 years, still weak is possible. But normally, it's like after 1-2 years, they are okay. They have with proper support and all, they'll be okay, and they will no longer be in this category. But as long as they are weak, then they are considered in this category, and they can receive zakat. So the zakat is to make them happy. That means to show that Islam is supporting them, and if they have financial issues, Islam will help them. Uh, then also under this category is someone who has followers, like hoping with the zakat given to him, his followers will be drawn to Islam. That means he just converted to Islam and he's quite strong. That means he's not weak in his deen, but he has followers. He has like thousands of followers under him, and these people are still non-Muslims, have not converted. But you give him money to support him and his movement and whatever, in hope that this zakat given to this person as the head will draw others to join Islam. So that is also under this category. And those who fight against people who refuse or prevent payment of zakat and bring the zakat to the imam, this is also considered under mu'allafati qulubuhum. It means, let's say in that region, people are not paying zakat and people refuse to pay zakat. The Muslims, they refuse to pay zakat and they prevent people from paying zakat. But this person, he go and fight against them. Go and fight against them with whatever method. Fight doesn't mean always mean kill, but you fight against them and you uh, you get the money and you bring it to the imam. This person can be given uh, zakat as well, to like it's like a way of saying, it's a way of gratitude, to saying thank you for all you have done. And those who fight against the enemy of Islam, either kafir or mughah. Kafir, those who are against Islam and fighting against Islam, or bughah, those Muslims fighting against the state, the imam, the established imam. If there is an established imam and there's a group who is fighting against the imam and creating problem that they want their own way, they don't want to listen to the imam, then actually these are called bugha, and the Muslim can fight them until they what is it, they keep quiet, they stop their nonsense. So those who fight against these people, you can give zakat to them. If the giving to zakat, if giving zakat to them is easier than sending troops to the place where these problems are happening. So this is a way of saying same thing, like saying thank you for helping the imam and the Muslims to keep their peace. So they no need to send the troops. These are all in scenarios where a Muslim, Islamic state, like the imam is present. But nowadays, actually, these two, the last two, is not really applicable because we don't have a imam. We only have like authorities, Muslim authorities in. So these Muslim authorities, they don't have the power like an imam, imam Muslimin. We don't have that currently. So these are actually not really applicable. So I just mentioned this to highlight that this mu'allafatu qulubuhum doesn't always mean new Muslims. There are other scenarios as well, which includes this. Number 5. The fifth asnaf is fir rigab, in bondage. Slaves who have an agreement with their masters to be freed once they pay a certain sum to them. Give them zakat to free them out of slavery. Same thing, this fifth, this scenario also actually is not really applicable, but it's good to know. And is the way is like if a slave have an agreement with the master that okay, you pay me $10,000, I will set you free. So this slave will be give permission to work and receive money. So he will work his way, get low pay. Never mind, he save up. It sometimes it takes years, takes 10 years, 20 years. In those times, sometimes it takes them 1-2 years, sometimes a few months, depending on their luck and how much they earn. So okay, let's say $10,000 and you are free. So if the imam knows that there are these cases, then go to these slaves, ask them how much do you owe. Oh, I still have like $5,000 to pay. Then I'll be free. Then take from the zakat money, give them the 5,000 and set him free. That is what it means. Not give them how much you need. 5,000. I give you 1,000. No, give him 5,000 to let him free, to let him be free. If the amount of zakat is a lot, but if it's little, then okay, then give whatever you can afford to be divided into how many slaves which are in this situation. Then number 6 is those who are in debt-ridden, al-gharimin. This asnaf, those who are in debt for non-haram cases. Example, for himself, he took a debt for himself or his dependents for survival, or to buy certain things which he need, but he don't really need, but he wanted, so he didn't know. Then he lost his job and whatever all these problems came, then he can't pay. Then he can receive zakat. And also for those who took debt to build mosque or public roads, for the public road, bridges and whatever, for public use. They took a loan thinking that they could pay. Then they found out that they cannot pay because they lost their job or whatever problems they have. Then they cannot pay. In this case, uh, zakat can be given to them. And how much to give? To give them whatever debt they are in. Like let's say, okay, how much you still? How much do you need? I need $10,000. Okay, then see is the zakat collected enough. If they have enough, then enough money to be given to set him free from his debts, then it should be given. Not just okay, I have $10,000 debt. Okay, then the imam will give. Okay, I give you $200. No, that shouldn't be the way. They should be given um, $10,000 straight away. if the debt is $10,000. But in this case, uh, the imam have to verify what is his debt to prove that he's not using for like macro thing, not for haram, not for like not abusing the system. Like he knows, okay, I just take that to buy a new car. Then next year, imam will give me the money from zakat to clear my debt. All this manipulation and abusing the system is not allowed. So in this category, the imam have the right to find out what's the debt about, what is the debt about, and why is he in debt. Then decide how much to be given. If he's like there's no reason to give him a lot, that means he still can pay. Actually, he still can pay. Then uh, I don't need to give him a lot. Then yeah, and actually all these are when he can receive zakat when his debts are due. If it's not due yet, then there's no point giving him because he still like have 3 years to pay. So that means his debt is not due yet. So he cannot receive. The debt must be due. Then those who have taken debts to avoid fitnah. Also, yeah, those who have taken debts to avoid fitnah or settle dispute for others. Even if they are wealthy, then these people can be given zakat to clear the debts because they don't want they didn't want the debt in the first place, but they took the debt to avoid fitnah or to settle for others, to give to settle some problems or disputes for others. Then they took the debts, but they are actually wealthy, they can pay. But in this case, the zakat money can be given to this kind of people because he is actually helping others and he don't need the money. And also under this category, guarantors, if they and those who they have guaranteed do not have enough. I mean, the guarantor guaranteed a person of $10,000. Then after 1 year, the debt is due. The guaranteed person, his business failed, lost that $10,000, and this guarantor also had some problems. Don't have the money to pay back. So the guaranteed and the guarantor both do not have money and are in problems and are being chased by the person who extended the debt. So in this case, both of them, either one can receive the money, the zakat, to pay back the loan. Number 7, fi sabilillah, in the cause of Allah. Fi sabilillah are those who fight in jihad for Islam voluntarily without any wages given, even if they are wealthy. So it must be, first of all, it must be jihad, must be in jihad for Islam, and must be voluntarily without any wages. Even if they are wealthy, they can be given from this category. They can be given zakat from this category. But if they have wages, like uh, they fought in a war, let's say a jihad, but they had wages, then they cannot take from the zakat. They cannot get from this category. But if they are poor at the same time, then they can get uh, from the fugara or masakin, that category. And this is one of those category where many people like to abuse because they say, "Oh, I'm a da'i." Da'i also considered jihad. Uh, so Allah alam. Some scholars say can be included, but firstly must be without pay. If he is receiving, he's doing da'wah, which he say jihad, but he is receiving wages, he's receiving salary, then he cannot take from this. He cannot receive. But if he is not, then according to those who say that da'i are also considered doing jihad, then they can get. And the last one is Ibn Sabil. Ibn Sabil are wayfarers, travelers, those who are traveling back or stranded and want to go back to their homeland but do not have enough with them, even if they have money in their homeland. It means he's stranded in some weird lands, no flights or what, and because nowadays is less of a problem because last time they travel by foot, they travel by land, they travel by sea. Nowadays you got flights everywhere, internet, phones. So it's and what is that? Credit cards and money can be transferred instantly. So less problem. So this category also like um, can be can be shut down in some places. You cannot find this kind of people in many places. In fact, so but if there are uh, uh, people in this category who fits the description, that means they are travelers, stranded or going back to their homeland, and then they don't have money. They don't have money or don't have enough for their travel just to reach home. Even if they have money at home in their banks, they have thousands of dollars, but they cannot transfer the money to them for use. Then they can be given. But like I said, this is a less of a problem. But if there are genuine problem, especially like some students when they go for studies, then they are stranded because they can't get back due to no money and or some death happen in the family and they they don't have enough money and all this. In this case, they can be given under this Ibn Sabil. So the conditions. So now we go for the conditions of recipients of zakat. First, it must be Islam. Non-Muslims are not eligible to receive zakat, except for the zakat administrator, who is appointed by the hakim or his representative. Only this person, the amil can receive. Even if he is a non-Muslim, he can receive zakat because he is appointed by the hakim. For whatever reason, the hakim appointed a non-Muslim, but if he does appoint a non-Muslim as an amil, that person can receive zakat. But other than that, cannot. Only Muslims can receive. Your zakat must be given to Muslims. There are some scholars saying that can be given to like those who are inclined to Islam, and you can give to them also. Allah alam. But maybe to some scholars, but most say cannot. Free man. Second condition must be a free man. A slave cannot receive zakat, except for those who have an agreement with their masters to free themselves. That means in Ibn Rigab, from slavery by paying a certain sum. Like these are also called mukatib. Mukatib, what is that? Mukatib is they have an agreement. They can work and they have to pay. Like the master will allow the slave to work, and let's say the master say, okay, 50% of the pay is mine, because if a slave works, whatever he gets goes to the master. But if he's a mukatib, then they set an agreement. Whatever you earn is mine, but except for like maybe 30% you can keep for yourself or whatever. They have an agreement, and you have to pay the master on top of that. Do another work or whatever. They have an agreement to pay himself off for a certain sum. Then he will be free. And in this case, he can receive. But other than that, only a free man can receive zakat. Then not wealthy. This is quite clear, except for some scenarios stated earlier, like those who are rich but can receive zakat in like the guarantors. Then those who are fighting in the way of Allah, fisabilillah, but they're not receiving any wages. They can receive it. You can receive zakat even though they are wealthy. So, but most cases only those who are not wealthy and not having enough can receive. Should not have enough for himself and his dependents, almost the same in terms of food, clothing, shelter, and basic necessities for himself and his dependents. If he have enough, then he shouldn't receive zakat. Not from Bani Hashim or Bani Muttalib. This is another condition for zakat recipients. So the 8 zakat recipients must not be from Bani Hashim or Bani Muttalib. The mu'tamad in Shafi'i is that Bani Hashim or Bani Muttalib cannot receive zakat due to hadith preventing this, and a hadith saying that they are eligible for 20% of war gains. So Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib, they are eligible for war gains. War booty, they will get 20%. Khumus, they will get 20%. But nowadays, as we all know, there's no such thing. I mean, there are no more wars, and this thing is not applicable, not valid anymore. It's not say it's not valid, it's not applicable because there's no war and and if there are also, this Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib are not receiving it. Because for the last war, I think also the Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib are not receiving this, except for a few, maybe, Allah Alam. They are, who are these Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib? Family and descendants of Abbas, Ali, Sayyidina Agil, Ja'far bin Abi Talib. These are Bani Muttalib, Bani Hashim. Then Bani Muttalib, the children of Harith bin Abdul Muttalib. These are so all these people and their descendants until now, if you can trace them to this lineage, they cannot receive zakat because of the hadith. Rasulullah SAW say that this zakat are filth, zakat money are filth and not suitable for Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib. Filth is as in the people are cleaning their wealth, so these are considered the filth from their wealth. So it's not suitable for the family of Prophet SAW, according to the hadith. But however, many reputable scholars permit them to receive zakat if they are prevented from receiving the war booty, war gains. However, it's best to inform them that it is zakat so they can decide whether or not to receive. And many scholars agree that, in fact, in Hadramaut also, they are using this opinion where because there are a lot of the descendants of the Prophet and descendants of from this Abbas, Ali, and descendants from Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib. There are a lot of them in the Middle East and especially Hadramaut, Indonesia, and the Nusantara. There are lots. So the ulama there, they say if they are not receiving war gains, they are not receiving their portion, and there are no more war gains like what it is now, they are not receiving or there are no more. So in this case, they can receive zakat because the the reason for them not able to receive is because of they have received from the war gains. So, but some scholars still say cannot because it's filth. So there are differences of opinion, but many scholars and in the Hadramaut also, they are using the opinion that they can receive if they are not this Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib can receive zakat if they are not receiving war gains or prevented from receiving war gains, which is happening now. There are no more war gains. But it's best if you give to this kind of people, you are giving your zakat to Bani Hashim or Bani Muttalib, you tell them first, this is zakat. So they can make their own choice whether to receive or not, because some of them still don't want to receive because of their wara, they don't want to receive. But some of them are in dire need and they don't mind receiving. And there are many scholars' opinion which support that. In fact, Fakhrul Razi and many scholars allow receiving this. Number 5, not incompetent. And number 6, sorry. Number 6 is not incompetent. Not incompetent. Mahjur. Mahjur alih. Mahjur alih is incompetent. They must not be incompetent of handling wealth when given to them. If they cannot handle wealth, someone who, it doesn't matter if they baligh or not. If they have reached puberty and they are matured enough, but they are not competent in wealth, handling wealth, then they shouldn't be zakat. They shouldn't be receiving zakat. But the zakat should be given to someone who is handling their wealth. Because if you give to a mahjur alayh is someone who don't know how to spend, don't know how to. It's like a kid who gets money and spends on nonsense. He was like, okay, this is zakat, $1,000. He will take that $1,000 and call everybody and like, or buy food, and one day finish that $1,000. Where if he have handled it well, he can last him like a few months or something like that. So if he cannot handle wealth, cannot handle money, then zakat shouldn't be given to him. So another part is ruling on giving out zakat other than in one's homeland. It is not permissible, according to the more popular opinion of scholars in Shafi'i. In Madhab Shafi'i, it's not possible. But the practice now, Imam Ibn Ujail, one of them, said 3 instances that are usually given fatwa according to the less popular opinion within Shafi'i. First one is, it is permissible to distribute zakat to only one category of the 8 asnaf. This is not mu'tamad, but is always the fatwa is given in such a way because this is more practical nowadays. Second one is, it is permissible to pay zakat to one person from one category of the 8 asnaf. Third one is, it is permissible to transfer one zakat to other places, other countries where one is not residing. So, according to the popular opinion, the mu'tamad is in Madhab Syafi'i, it's not possible to transfer your zakat out from your own country, but or where you are residing. If your home country is like country A, but you are residing in country B, your zakat should be given out in country B, not in your homeland. But if you are residing, you want to transfer, you say that okay, in my homeland there are many poor country, poor people. There are many zakat recipients, but down here not so many. So I like to give. So according to this opinion, is permissible, but it's not the more popular opinion in the Shafi. But however, like according to Imam Ibn Ujail, there are 3 instances where the fatwa is given against the not I mean the less popular fatwa is given, because normally if you give a fatwa you have to give the mu'tamad and the mashhur fatwa. You cannot give the agwal, you cannot give gold small what to the public. uh, like special fatwa shouldn't be given to the public, but individually according to his cases, then certain fatwas will be given. But according to Imam Ibn Ajail, in Madhab Shafi'i, muftis will ifta on these 3 cases. Uh, they will they will normally give the less popular opinion. That means can pay zakat to one category and one person, and also transfer out your zakat. So that's all for zakat. I think we have completed. We have covered all the basics in zakat. Then inshallah we will continue with the next topic in Kitab Risalatul Jami'ah, which will be Al-Hajj. Inshallah next week. Wallahu a'lam. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابة لنا في ديننا ما أهل القدر أنثى وذكر ربي وفقنا وفقهم لما ترتضي قولا وفعلا كرما وارزق الكل حلالا دائما وأخلا أتقى علماء نحظى بالخير ونكفى كل شر. ربنا أصلح لنا كل شؤون وأقر بالرضا منك العيون وأقضي عنا ربنا كل الديون قبل أن تأتينا مسلمون. واغفر واستر أنت أكرم من ستر. وصلى الله تغشى المصطفى من إلى الحق دعانا والوفاء بكتاب فيه للناس الشفاء. وعلى الآل الكرام الشرفاء وعلى الصحب مصابه الغرار. اللهم اهدنا بهداك واجعلنا ممن يسارع في رضاك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا ممن خلف أمرك وعصاك. وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والله أعلم. وأعفو منكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.